Okay, we are live with the Bullshit Busters episode 1.5. A little more bullshit to clean up. Uh, so, and I'm here with Triple M, the man with the master plan. Um, you have anything to say, Triple M?
Well, Triple M here. I am back, and I could have been back since last time, but I guess Google really didn't like what I wanted to say. But yeah, Google couldn't have kept me out for long.
they can't stop you. As you know, if you're on this channel, it's me, Matt Wesley, or sorry, Red Fox,
Oh, okay.
but my real name's Matt Wesley. Just you'll never find my other YouTube channel. And basically, as my name proclaims, I play games. I'm an old school gamer. I'm a retro gamer. I have tons of old systems and games, and I play them because old school games are some of the best games I've ever played.
It's the monument of a museum.
Dude, you might want to close that window.
Oh, definitely. I completely
We can
forgot that
hear you.
open. I left it open.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm an old school gamer, and the reason I started this podcast, as I stated in the first episode, is bullshit is just too it's too pervasive. It's taken over the video gaming universe. There's too much of it, and people, we've begun to um, a lot of people have begun to accept it.
Pretty much.
And
And
when you start accepting BS and lies, it becomes reality. And I'll tell you right now, ever, I never, ever want to start to accept BS as acceptable, because when that happens, you're in trouble.
oh yes, definitely.
Deep, deep trouble. So I guess you should start, since you have some topics to hit on, and we'll deal with this BS together.
Sounds great. Might as well bring the topic that we skipped last time that I was there.
Go for it.
All right. I think I remember um, your question about what type of what type of game or franchise or series do we want to see come back, and it doesn't matter if it's on the Nintendo console or Sony, Microsoft, or even on the PC.
Yeah.
So I thought about it. Uh, there's four types. First up is Samurai Showdown from SNK Playmore,
That would be awesome.
and the thing is, I would like them to go with it a little further. I think the last game featured some sort of killing blow technique. Uh, after winning a match.
So like a fatality.
Basically, yes.
That
Uh,
would be a cool. That would be a cool addition. What else do you think would be awesome?
well, I let's just okay. I'm finished with that one. There's another game series that I would like to see have a shine, and I'm not sure if you remember, but there was a game back then called Atina, again by SNK. It's a side-scrolling.
I'm not too familiar with it. I was never really big into SNK games. Um, I had or not had. I have a TurboGrafx um, PC Engine Duo, which has a lot of SNK games, but SNK was never like really my wheelhouse of games that I played a lot of.
Oh, that's a shame, man. That means you're not even familiar with King of Fighters?
No, I'm familiar with it. I've played King of Fighters, but see, for me, King of Fighters was never like my fighting game of choice. I was more of a Street Fighter person, and King of Fighters was a little too with the jumping from foreground to background. Although I will say I am a fan of Mai Shiranui.
Oh, wait a minute. That's actually from Fatal Fury.
Ah, but isn't King of Fighters made by the same people, and doesn't it share a lot of the same?
And it's in the later installments of Fatal Fury has caught some resemblance of King of Fighters mechanics.
Yeah, King of Fighters was kind of like the in some ways it was kind of the better. It was kind of like the better half to um
The Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. Yeah,
The ironic thing is, I was introduced into fighting games with Street Fighter first, Street
yeah.
Fighter 2. But I think after some time, I think maybe 6 months, no, a year later, I found out King of Fighters before I found out about Fatal Fury, and I think it was um, King of Fighters 98, 98 or 97, 97, and one of those two. And I kind of enjoyed King of Fighters much better just because it has more options than Street Fighter 2, which I really thought Capcom would have capitalized on what King of Fighters was doing. But yeah,
Well, King of Fighters just like the thing is like Street Fighter is kind of like the standard, you
yes,
know, and people like the thing about gamers that a lot of people don't understand is that gamers are really conservative. We don't like a lot of change. It's the reason why gamers like a lot of so-called hardcore gamers like to say, "Oh, I want, I prefer." I prefer Melee to Brawl, even though technically speaking, Brawl is a better game. It's got a bigger roster. The characters have a better weight to them, but like they like Melee because Melee is what they really like. They're familiar
yeah,
with. It's what has the. I mean, I feel the same way about Street Fighter 2. I don't really. I mean, Street Fighter 3 was okay, but Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 3 Alpha, like all of these different. I like Street Fighter 2 is my favorite, followed by Street Fighter 3, and then after that, like I really don't like 4 too much.
right. But let me just get back to the game that I actually wanted to talk about,
Shoot, go
which
ahead.
was which is Atina. Well, yeah, since back in the day, I think yes, it was on the NES as well, and since it was a side scroller game. Now, I think a few years back, SNK released a sequel to a direct sequel to Atina, and it was on a mobile.
Well, that kind of killed your excitement, didn't
Oh
it?
yes, very. Now,
No. Wait a second. You talking about the game where you play as
as a
uh,
goddess
well, she could be a goddess. I mean, she gets killed by
in a
monsters. I don't think that's
in a
not
red
very
bikini,
godlike.
yeah,
But but
a
she
goddess in a red bikini.
yeah, and she's got like a Spartan type helmet on, and she walks around fighting. It's kind of like Zelda 2, but
Yeah,
but a little like even a little bit harder than Zelda 2 actually.
yes. Well, it was hard just basically for the let me just say for the lack of a better word, wanky controls.
Yeah, the controls. I think I know which game you're talking about. Yeah, um personally speaking, if you're talking about series from SNK that you want to see come back, I'll tell you a game I want to see come back from SNK. Crystalis.
Oh yeah.
Crystalis needs to come back. Crystalis was kind of like The Legend of Zelda, only it had technology and it was like in an apocalyptic future with like vampires and robots. I mean, it was awesome. And then they turned it and they just got rid of it. I'm like, how are you going to get rid of such awesomeness?
Yeah, I was wondering if it's due to the fact that um, the game wasn't commercial success, or they just don't know what they could do with it afterwards.
Well, they re-released Crystalis for the Game Boy Color, so
Ah,
I have both versions. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It must have made some money if they made if they ported it over to the Game Boy Color. Well, actually, the Game Boy Color was actually an enhanced version. They fixed a lot of the glitches, and it actually had better graphics on the Game Boy Color. Because obviously, the Game Boy Color is like 5 times more powerful than an NES. So you know,
yeah, can't disagree with you there. Yeah. Well, anyway, actually, I wanted to see a alternate game that's basically should I say open world or open world
Metroidvania.
adventure style? Yeah, yes. Well, kind of like Metroid Prime, but no, not Metroid Prime. I mean, kind of like Super Mario 64.
So it would be like an open world 3D game, or like still a platformer.
Yeah, it would have some platform aspect on it.
Okay.
But at least for the platforms segments, it could be in uh, a, a vertical styled level or terrain like Mount Olympus out of the top of my head, and actually do fight
Well,
monsters in there.
I mean, I think I think Athena could work. Maybe not as an open world like 3D game, not too much, but maybe if they made it into like a 3D a 2D kind of Metroidvania game in the vein of like maybe say a Symphony of the Night or something like that. Only Athena wasn't that dark.
Yeah,
That could work.
I yes, that could work. Now I got two more games. This one,
Go ahead.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure why no one or these two companies never thought of this, but actually it's say versus game like Capcom versus games. I always thought it would be much more appropriate to see um, Mortal Kombat versus Darkstalkers.
That would be cool, except for one thing. Um, the reason why it didn't happen is because Capcom doesn't want to see their franchise characters get killed horrifically and with fatalities.
And the
it's the
thing
reason
is,
why. It's the reason why they got rid of fatalities in Mortal Kombat for a lot of the heroes in Mortal Kombat Cross. Uh,
yeah, DC.
DC, yeah, because I mean it's like no matter how dark and believe me, Darkstalkers is pretty dark.
Oh
Like
yes,
you couldn't imagine any of those people just horrifically murdering people, except for maybe Akuma. Akuma, yeah, Akuma horrifically, and even when he horrifically murders people, he just uses his ultimate Hadouken and just wipes them out. You know.
yeah, but if I remember correctly, didn't one of those games had some sort of fatal the Darkstalkers franchise? Didn't one of those games had a fatality in them? Because
Not really.
I could have sworn I seen. Well, I guess that's just wishful thinking of me. But
No,
anyway,
Darkstalkers, Mortal Kombat, none of Capcom's like mainline fighting games, arcade style 2D fighting games have had fatalities. None of them. You can beat the hell out of your opponent, but that's about it. I mean, you know, that's standard. That's the standard draw for these types of things.
Yeah.
So,
I
what's your
get
second
me
game?
right. Um, you'll be surprised by this because it's actually from EA of all company.
That's okay. I was just going through some of my games that I have for my Wii and my PS2 earlier today because like a stack of my disc cases fell down, and I have quite a few EA games. I've given them a lot of money over the years, but go ahead.
Yes, when they were still good.
Yeah,
So this franchise, I really wanted to see coming back from the dead, which is Command and Conquer.
I could see that. What would you add?
I can't really say what I would like to add on that franchise. Uh, Basically, I played the very first one, the very first Command and Conquer game, and I played that was the only game that I actually played on PC. But yeah,
Really? Mm.
yes. So I
Well,
think that was at, to be honest, that was actually my gateway to PC gaming and an RTS, something I thought I'd never see myself play. But after that franchise just basically went dead, uh, yeah, that kind of stifled my PC enthusiasm.
well, I'll tell you the truth. If I saw Command and Conquer come back, I would need three things to make a return. One, I'd have to see more more cheesy cutscenes, more cheesy bad acting cutscenes that look like something from out of a 5-year-old's kindergarten play. Two, in actual combat, I would want to see them steal a page from StarCraft 2 and have like instead of you just commanding units, have like personnel units, like personal character based units that you lead around, and then like as you go through the game, you get command of a bigger army of characters and stuff like that. Um,
like
because
you
the
have
thing is,
like you
Command
have
and Conquer. Well, go
sorry, keep
ahead.
going. Uh,
Well, the thing is that the storyline, Command and Conquer actually had a pretty interesting storyline, you know.
yes.
And
So,
I mean, once you got past the cheesy ass acting, but but I would really like to see like, and you can play as both sides. You can play as the Brotherhood of Nod. You could play as like the good guys. Well, none of them are the good guys, but Kane is clearly insane. So you can play as either as both sides. You can basically like level up your units, and you can like do sub objectives to find new technology that might not. I mean, it's going to give you an edge later on in the game. I mean, I think they could really bring that back. Now the question is, would EA do it?
that's the conundrum that I'm pondering right now.
Yeah, because EA, I mean, they've taken a lot of my favorite franchises that I have basically come to really like Plants vs Zombies,
Oh
and
boy.
yeah, Plants vs Zombies. I liked like the first Plants vs Zombies. I downloaded. I bought it for like $9.99 on a flash sale, and I downloaded it. And that's one of my favorite like PC games. Um, they took Plants vs Zombies and they turned it into a damn microtransaction heavy game. Now I will say this much about PVZ2, Plants vs Zombies 2, is it's geared to make you want to spend money to unlock stuff quickly, but you can get everything without having to pay anything. Which I mean, I'm shocked
So,
because
so it's not painfully obvious that the game is trying to coax you to buy to buy stuff with real money.
Oh, you know, they want you to spend money, but it's like you don't have to. Like, okay, like you know how a lot of those microtransaction games on Facebook and on a smartphone are like, okay, guys, you have an energy meter, and like initially you can just wait a little bit for the energy meter to fill back up, or make friends and they'll give you energy. Well,
Yeah.
like they don't do that, but it's like, oh, you want to unlock this stuff, oh, you need to spend like $3.99 on these plants. If you want to go to this next world right now, you need this amount of money. But here's the thing, I played the hell out of PVZ the first time, and sometimes after I play it like long enough and unlock everything, I'll just erase it and start all over again. I'm a veteran at this shit. So so if they think, oh, you can't have these plants, I'm like, that's a challenge, motherfucker. You can't, this is a challenge. You
Now
can't just,
that's old school right there. Ah,
you know, this. See, it's kind of like, is that your last game that you really want to see, or so we can roll into the bullshit portion?
yes.
Okay then.
Those are the last games.
Since we were talking about bullshit, and we ended with EA, that segues nicely into some EA bullshit.
Oh, and I got it written down. I got it written down here.
It's EA, so I mean EA always has some bullshit. That's just their nature. So here's the EA bullshit that I have seen. There is an article from joystick.com with EA's Frank Gabot saying that maybe the reason that people didn't like Dungeon Keeper Mobile is because EA was being, and I quote, too innovative, unquote. And that's the reason. I'm like, no, the reason people didn't like your damn Dungeon Keeper Mobile is because you assholes turned one of the best early PC games, that basically were like was like basically kind of a strategy tower defense type style thing, into a damn microtransaction simulator.
Oh
And
Lord.
it was so bad that the game can't even be sold in Europe because they were like, this shit is illegal, and they're banned from selling it in Europe. Let me tell you something. When someone bans your game because it's so microtransaction heavy, that's not too much innovation. That's bullshit. Okay?
Yeah.
And EA is absolutely full of it. And to
I
think
can't.
that
I can't believe it. Even the government is seeing through that.
yeah, I mean, and the thing is like they were acting like people were so stupid that people didn't know what was going on. I'm like, dude, are you an idiot?
Oh
I
God.
mean, do we look, first of all, okay, look, we understand that, you know, and that's not the only bullshit. Um, Peter Moore, or as I like to call him, the devil. Now I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I call Peter Moore the devil. Every sports division that he has been a part of or head of eventually gets run into the ground and tanks, and basically a lot of people lose their jobs. The sports division just crashes and burns. But his ass always lands on his feet, and hence and therefore I call him the devil, because the only person who can avoid that much misfortune is the devil.
It's a devil.
Yeah. So
Oh.
basically, Peter Moore is like, well, the reason we're not making games for the 3DS is because I don't know if he actually talks like this. I know this sounds like a drunk Bill Cosby, but this is my Peter Moore voice. It's because it's not going to be a viable platform in the next 3 or 4 years. Really? You
What?
think you think Nintendo's gonna stop growing their handheld platform?
No, wait,
Look,
no, no. You just say it like this. You think Nintendo is going to do something like Sony did with the Vita?
that's going to segue into my next bullshit topic. Do you honestly think they're just going to say, well, fuck? Like, I mean, Nintendo has never dropped support for any of their handhelds. Ever. Ever. Like, never. It's never happened. Not once.
Unless it's the Virtual Boy, but
The Virtual Boy wasn't a handheld.
Yeah.
It's not a handheld. Look, I have a Virtual Boy. If you see someone trying to play a Virtual Boy portably, get up,
No, that
get
no,
up and
no,
run. They're
no.
crazy. They're
They're doing it
crazy.
wrong.
Yeah.
They're doing it wrong. Oh god. Oh yeah.
But I mean, which segues nicely into our next bullshit topic.
Yeah.
The Vita. Oh, all hail the device that was hailed to be the 3DS killer. This device was going to completely destroy Nintendo's little 3DS. And as we can see, it didn't.
And you know, I was hearing, I was listening to that podcast that you did earlier about, for the love of God, IGN,
Yeah.
having that article being the Vita being the 3DS killer. I'm like, oh, and back then I smelled bullocks on that because I'm like, wait a minute, the Vita isn't even out yet. I can okay, I can see the Vita as it much more powerful than the 3DS, but sing your horses, might as well let them be let them duke it out in the marketplace.
Well, the only reason I'm gonna say that the Vita, like, here's the thing, people like the handheld gaming market isn't about power. It's not about power. Like
Nope, it's
Sony
about
was like,
portable.
this system is the most powerful system, handheld system ever. I was like, this system's fucked. It's screwed. Because let me tell you something. Systems in general, like, people don't seem to understand this. They're like, well, it's about power. Systems, consoles are not about power. Consoles,
You know,
handhelds, they're not about power. They're about the games that are on the system. Okay,
I could
and
even go for further. There, at least for the handhelds, they're about convenience.
well, the handhelds are about convenience, but even then, it's all about um, the games that are on the system. It's not about power, because if you look historically, each system that's dominated the market has always been the weakest one. Okay, it's been the weakest one in the market. The NES was the weakest system in the market at the time. There were other home consoles on the market that came
Yeah,
out, like the original Sega Master System, and I think Atari finally came out with their third generation console at that time, but it was too late. The weak NES kicked all their asses. Then the SNES was a special case. The SNES by itself wasn't that powerful, but well, it was. But a lot of the technology that made their games really special was the technology was in the cartridge, not the actual
yeah.
console. So I mean, the SNES could be seen as being kind of like the different console, but I mean, you look at the generation after that one. Look, the PS1 was way weaker than the N64. The PS2 was way weaker than the Xbox and the GameCube. And the Wii was incredibly weaker than the Xbox 360 and the PS3. But those were the ones that won their console generation. So when someone tells me, and then with handhelds, it's like Nintendo always has like the weakest handheld out there. Well, not the weakest, one of the weakest handhelds, and they always dominate. Want to know why? Because they have really fucking good games for their system. It has nothing to do with power. And for someone to come up to me and tell me, well, the selling point for our system is that you can stream it from your system onto your handheld device. Are you shitting me? You mean to tell me you're not actually making real games? You're just going to tell me to stream some shit over my internet connection? And guess what? Even if you use remote play with your Vita, unless you're sitting right next to your PS4 or PS3, the shit still doesn't work. So you know what? Sony, for trying to sell people that bullshit, you get 2 middle fingers right in the face.
Ouch.
That's right,
Ouch.
2, not 1, 2. Both of them.
yeah, the thing is, I'll also go as far to say that I'm like Sony. Why aren't you making your own games for the Vita?
Now, I'll tell you why they
That's
aren't making their own
all.
games for the Vita. They don't have the money to make their own games for the Vita.
And, I, and you know what? I'm willing to bet if it wasn't for the PS3, I bet they could still have money to make games even for the Vita. Heck, for the
Look,
Vita and the PS4.
Shuhei Yoshida was telling the truth this week. He said, "Look, only 30 to 40% of our first-party games make money on the for Sony." I was like, first of all, that is a fucked up business model. First of all, second of
Yeah.
all, could you imagine Nintendo doing some shit like that?
Nah.
I couldn't. I
Nintendo.
couldn't.
If Nintendo was in the same boat as let me just say just the PlayStation division, heck, Nintendo would have been already on the red line. They wouldn't
Yeah,
even be making games anymore.
they would be. I mean, because the thing that gets me about all of this is that like the quality of Sony's first parties when they first like when the PS1 first hit the scene, they had some pretty decent first parties. They weren't great. I mean, they couldn't. I mean, okay, compared to Nintendo, I mean, it's hard to compare other people's first parties to Nintendo's first parties because Nintendo is the premier first party studio. But I mean, Sony had some decent games like Crash Bandicoot and Ape Escape and Paw Rap of the Rap. I mean, good, quirky titles. And then the
Yeah,
PS2 generation came along, and they dropped a lot of their mainline games, but they still had some decent like uh, Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. They still had a few Spyro and Crash Bandicoot games. But then the PS3, like towards the tail end of the PS2 generation, the quality of their first party games started going to shit. And it's been going down ever since. Okay, and look, here's the thing: a game is about more than just graphics. Telling me that a game is graphically impressive is like telling me that, oh, I have a huge kitchen, but you don't know how to cook. It's like, yeah, your kitchen has all this shit, but if you don't know how to cook, what's the use of all this shit in here?
I
You
would, I would go as far as to say just the food. It looks absolutely wonderful, looks delicious, but once you start eating it, you you'll definitely have a bad taste. Or
Yeah, well, I have an article here that I'd like to read from Sony's Andrew House discussing the future of the PS Vita in an interview with IGN. And this is from PlayerEssence.com. This is the shameless plug. You guys need to go over there if you get a chance because PlayerEssence.com is a great place to get your information. It's entertaining, it's informative, they don't deal with a lot of bullshit, they'll call people out on it, they're great. They get 2 thumbs up.
awesome
So,
community there, right there.
yeah, they're a great community. So let's get into this article. This is Andrew House. I certainly think you'll see the Vita as a AAA machine in Japan where it has a different function with the console dynamic of the marketplace. That for me is a given. It's hard to say in terms of the other markets. I think remote play is still in its nascent stages. I think we need to have better understanding.
Bullocks.
We know a lot of players are embracing it and using it and seem to like the experience a lot, but necessarily that changes the dynamic. You know, if you can play PlayStation 4 content at will on Vita, then does that obviate the necessity of having AAA content or not? I think that question will stay unanswered for a little bit. Now, I'm going to translate this for those of you who don't speak PR bullshit. Um, Now, before anyone says anything, I'm just going to give you my a little bit of history about myself so that you can understand how I'm able to see through this bullshit. I graduated college when I was 21, started when I was uh, 18, and I went to college, um, and I graduated a year early, and I immediately went because I had a dual major in sociology and political science. Um, I went to work on Capitol Hill, Bullshit Junction, as some people may call it. I spent 2 years working on Capitol Hill, and let me tell you something. I can sense bullshit like a Jedi can sense the Force. Okay, I I can sense bullshit like a black person can sense racism. And considering the fact I'm also black, yeah, I can sense that shit too. So what I'm saying is that I am very good at seeing bullshit and being able to cut through it and see through it. So let's translate this bullshit article. I certainly think you'll still see the Vita as a AAA machine in Japan where it has different function with the console dynamic of the marketplace. That for me is a given. So basically what he's saying is that the only fucking place where this thing is doing even moderately well is Japan.
But it's not a surprise.
Yeah, it's not a surprise because Japan is the land of handhelds. It's hard to say in terms of the other markets. I think remote play is still in its nascent stages. I think we need to have a better understanding. So basically, what he's saying is that in other markets it's fucked, and
Yes.
and I think remote play is still in its nascent stages. It means that the infrastructure isn't there to make remote play really viable. Like
I was
unless you're sitting.
about I was about to say about the internet infrastructure.
Yeah, it's
Which,
not. It's not there. It's just not. Like, here's the thing. Okay, I have FiOS. Okay, if you and I have really great internet, like Wi-Fi inside my house. I have really great Wi-Fi inside my house. Like we have. I mean, let's see. I have a smart TV in my living room. I have my PS3, which is slow as hell, but wirelessly it works. My Wii U wireless works perfectly. It's almost like it's just as good with as it as a LAN USB controller in there, landline in there, with a K5 internet connection. And I can tell you right now, um, if I leave my house, I can visibly see where my internet connection goes way down. If I go to other places that have crappy internet connections, I can visibly feel it go way down. So why in the hell would you make a system so predicated upon using something that can only be used in 20% of the areas where your consumer base lives? That's
not
just
to,
fucking stupid.
yes, not to mention the fact that there are some internet providers are basically doing data capping or trying to do data capping.
Yeah. I mean, if this thing uses up your data limit, you're screwed. I mean, it's just these people just. I mean, the bullshit. But let's get back to this translation. So basically, I think remote play is still in its nascent stages. I think we need to have a better understanding. Basically, the remote play is the shit doesn't work half the time, or it has a lot of bullshit attached to it that makes it not as viable as they would like it. So let's get into the second paragraph of this bullshit. We know a lot of players are embracing it and using it and seem to like the experience a lot, but necessarily that changes the dynamic. You know, if you can play your PlayStation 4 content at will on Vita, then does that obviate the necessity of having AAA content or not? I think that question will stay unanswered for a bit. Okay, so basically what he's saying is that not enough people bought this shit, but the people who did are playing the hell out of the games they have on it, but they aren't necessarily buying Vitas in order to stream PS4 games to the PS Vita, which is shocking. I can't believe someone didn't buy a Wii U solely so that they could stream shit from their Wii U to their 3DS. I mean, how dare these people expect a handheld to actually play handheld games? Oh my God, how dare we want a handheld that play handheld games? Us evil people wanting a system to play games on. Oh, I'm shocked. But but back to the point. You know, if you can play PlayStation 4 content on will on the Vita, then does that obviate the necessity of having AAA content or not? I think that question will stay unanswered for a bit. Basically, Sony can't even afford to really money hat people to put games on the Vita. Their first party first party developers don't want to work on it, and they don't want to put they can't afford the money hat for it anymore. So Sony's basically like, well, fuck it. They're basically they're like Sony is giving a soft is slipping the air bubble laced the air bubble laced syringe into the medicine the fluid drip to put the embolism into the Vita so that it'll die in its sleep, and it'll die and everyone will call it a day. And for those PS Vita fans, I know you're out there, you PS Vita owners. Look, I feel your well. Actually, I don't feel your pain because when it comes to handhelds, my primary handheld has always been a Nintendo one, and Nintendo doesn't, except for the Virtual Boy, they don't do that shit. But I also own quite a few dead handhelds like the Game Gear and the
My God,
PC Engine,
yeah.
the PC Engine Portable, and the Sega Nomad, and and the Wonder Swan, and the Neo Geo Pocket. So I know how you feel. Look, I'm gonna be like Bill Clinton. I feel your pain. I really do feel your pain. But that being said, um, look, man, look. Sony has a history of dropping support for shit that is doing badly. Remember all those Move games? Look, I went on PlayStation, PSN. They are giving away Move games to people. They're like it's like $1 all the time or free if you have PSN. They're giving away this shit because PSN flopped harder than a fish out of water. But and they dropped support for it. Sony is not. Oh God, don't get me started on Sony bullshit. Well, actually, do because this is bullshit 1.5. Bullshit. Sony. I mean, Sony is a foul ass company. They're selling PS4s on hype alone. The hype is beginning to die out, and it's kind of like that old saying. Look, Sony has to either shit or get off the pot. And, Sony's been on the pot for a while. Greatness awaits! Greatness awaits! Greatness awaits! Well, people are waiting.
The thing is, the first time I heard that slogan from Sony, I'm like, greatness awaits. The very first time I heard it, I'm like, okay. So basically, Sony, you're telling me that if I wait, the games will come. Well, I'm still waiting.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. When I heard Sony's new slogan, "Greatness awaits," I was like, "Well, that means you have no fucking games right now."
Now, now, if Nintendo actually done that same slogan, they would definitely get their butt handed.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, people get mad at the Wii U. They're like, "Oh, the Wii U has no games." The Wii U launched with some decent, solid games. Okay, they had Arkham Armored Edition, which is the definitive version of that game. Okay, it launched with Ninja Gaiden Razor's Edge, which is a really good version of that game.
Yeah.
It launched with Nintendo Land, which Zombie U, which look. You know what? Fuck Ubisoft. Zombie U, which was a port of a game that was originally going to be on the Xbox 360, and they pulled it from the Xbox 360, changed the gameplay around a little bit, gimped it, and then put it on the Wii U. That's what Zombie U is. Okay.
And you know what?
It's not.
Just for that effort, I will give you the benefit of the doubt. That's it.
I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not. Look, Ubisoft. No,
Yeah,
go ahead.
That was before all the bullocks that well, it's gone.
You're breaking up a little bit, so I'm gonna adjust my bandwidth a little bit. Try speaking again, Triple M.
Well, as I said, But before bought Ubisoft has done, at that time they give the doubt. But after that from me has diminished completely. That's what I meant.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that gets me about Ubisoft is that Ubisoft basically, like, Ubisoft is one of the most two-faced ass companies I have seen. Like, they're even worse than EA, because EA is like, you know what, fuck you, Nintendo. And you know what? I mean,
Yes.
I might not like EA, but they were up front. They're like, you know what? Fuck you. and, and they, I mean, sure. Initially, they were like, we are going to have an unprecedented partnership with Nintendo, but now they're like, fuck you. And I'm like, you know what? I respect them for being upfront with them being slimy, no good bastards.
Yeah.
But Ubisoft is like, we really want Nintendo to do well. That's why we're delaying games for them. And we have a game that's fully completed, but we're waiting to put it on the Wii U because until the install base reaches a certain point. And
I really want to speak about that, but go ahead.
I'm sitting here saying that's okay because I really want Ubisoft to do well, but I'm not buying into their fucking games on any of my consoles. So I mean, and here's the thing, I really wanted Far Cry 4, but considering I'm going to be getting Hyrule Warriors and Bayonetta 1 and 2, I, and Smash Brothers later on this year, I will not miss Far Cry. I'll get Far Cry 4 when it's on sale, because you know in about next summer it's going to be like 15, $20 at GameStop.
Yeah. Well, now speaking about that game that Ubisoft made being hostage. Um, when I heard that, I was like, Ed, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, but if is that game actually exclusive for the Wii U?
Uh, you know what? Knowing Ubisoft, it probably is a multi-plat. You
Okay.
know, because it's Look, man, it's Ubisoft. Look, listen. You know, have you ever noticed how anything that Nintendo has that is a exclusive, like people either port beg the hell out of it, or they
Yes.
bash it after they
Yep.
find out that a an exclusive. Like like here's the thing. Everyone knows Bayonetta 1 and 2, especially Bayonetta 2, is gonna be fucking awesome. There's it's gonna be fucking awesome. But I mean, Sony is really. I mean, a lot of these people are like, it might come one day. Let me tell you something. Nintendo helped pay for that shit being made. Guess what?
That's
It ain't
yeah. It's
never
going
coming to your
nowhere.
console. Never. Ever. And if Bayonetta 2 has like Bayonetta 1 the ultimate version that's on the Wii U is gonna have like all those suits and stuff. Let me tell you something. No, I'm sorry. It's never gonna happen. It's the reason why no matter how much Bandai Namco bitched and moaned that like the the ultimate version of Soul Calibur 2, which is the version with Link in it on the GameCube, is never gonna be on other people's consoles. Want to know why? Because Nintendo's like, fuck you guys. Never, never.
Nope.
Never. It's not going to happen. So for all you people like, I really want to play Bayonetta 2, you better buy a Wii U.
Oh
And if you
yeah.
and I understand you don't want to you don't want to spend $500. You don't want to spend $300 plus $50, $60 on the game. Okay, I understand that. Here's my solution. Go on Nintendo.com. Go to refurbished systems. Buy a refurbished Wii U for $200. It has the same factory guarantee. It has the same Nintendo quality. You know, Nintendo's not going to pull a red ring of death on you like Xbox 360 did. It's a great console. $200. You get a great console. I mean, that's all I can say.
All right. Well, that
Now, what were you going to say about Ubisoft and holding games hostage?
well, when I first heard that, I was like, Ubisoft, are you freaking kidding me? You have a game, and like you said, it's finished, and you're not going to release on the Wii U. I'm like, Ubisoft, what what kind of idiotic misfit did you just do? You basically shout out to the whole world that you have a product in the back corner waiting to be posted, and yet you keep it back there. I'm like, okay, why did you just keep your mouth shut so no one would be hauling out your arse for this tomfoolery? And then to hear, what was it? And then I heard that it was in the vein of a family game. I'm like, that's even more stupidity if it's
Shovelware.
really true.
It's probably another Just Dance anyway.
And the thing is, in a way, basically, Ubisoft, you're telling me that you don't even have uh crud. I forgot the
Faith.
word. Yes,
Faith.
you don't even have faith in your own product. That means by the time Ubisoft actually released that product, I am definitely not even looking at it, because yeah, you just told me it's a piece of,
Garbage.
yes, a piece of garbage
Yeah.
that shouldn't have even been produced anyway. And about some time ago, I was looking through YouTube videos. I found one that was titled um, Nintendo never makes powerful console. Here's a reason why, and a title something like that. It goes by the YouTuber is Adam Koralik. Well, great video. Even though some stuff he said, um,
Was
don't
false.
no, not false. It was actually his opinion, but inclined to disagree a few of his things. Well, after finished watching that video, I went looking through the comment section. There was one comment that basically gave me an eye. It says, Ubisoft, Wii U need to sell more consoles for more support. Nintendo has more systems sold than Xbox One, second place overall. Ubisoft pretty much dropped support for Wii U except for Just Dance and a heavily delayed Watch Dogs, and continues to support Xbox One. Three
Yeah.
question mark. Well, Adam replied, I hate, and I quote, I hate to let you on this little secret, but people don't buy the multiplats on Nintendo consoles most of the time, uh, which is kind of true, but also not entirely true. But anyway, what that
Look at
means
Shovel
essentially,
Knight.
yes, yeah. Well, what that means essentially is Ubisoft has hard sales numbers and knows how well one release did on the Wii U versus what it sold on, say, the Xbox One. If they're delaying games, it's because they know the sales will be pitiful. And I'm like, pitiful. So you again, what I had in my mind back then, you have a game, you're finished, not releasing it, and yeah, just sit on it. That's telling me, yes, again, you have no faith on it. And after I read that comment, another idea came by. You're it basically you're telling me that uh, the Wii U owners are not. This is hyperbole here, so excuse my way of thinking, but you're basically telling me that Wii U owners are not that idiotic or stupid enough to buy that game than the Xbox One owners. Are, and I'm like, really, Ubisoft? Are you really telling me that as well?
But that's the case. Like, here's the thing, okay? The Wii was a system that basically, like, there was this article from Pietrot, whatever his name is, called "The Wall of Shame," and it showed that
Oh,
basically
yes.
for every one or two quality games that came from third parties to the Wii, there was
There's like
like
10 of them
six,
or
seven,
something.
eight. There were six or seven. Um, so there were six or seven pieces of garbage. So basically, if 70% of the games you put on a console are garbage, okay, of course, like, here's the thing, I'm a Nintendo gamer, and I mean, but I'm beyond being a Nintendo gamer. I, even for my other consoles, I do not buy garbage. I try not to. I mean, I had a video I did. I said, be an elite gamer. I
Yeah,
try not to play garbage games. I try not to play games that are just I try not. Basically, I look for the warning signs of a garbage game. For example, if someone tells you how great the graphics of a game are, it's probably going to be garbage. Because here's the thing, I don't care about graphics. I want to play a good game. Some of the best games I've ever played did not necessarily have really good
have the
graphics.
best graphics. Yes.
I mean,
Heck,
I'll give you.
go on.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, um, Psychonauts comes to mind, and to be honest, that game really didn't have the best graphics or the best aesthetics, but it played good.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
No, what I was about to say was that people are always like I'd say even longer than that. Like, okay, I've been playing a game called as of late called FTL. FTL uses like pixel style graphics. It's still really good though. Like, here's the thing: when someone says graphics that's how you can tell next gen gaming. It Now, initially you could tell next gen gaming just through graphics. Like, okay, we knew we were playing a different Mario game when we played Super Mario World for the um SNES versus Super Mario Brothers 3. You knew you were playing a different game. It was a
Yeah,
whole new generation of gaming.
but ever since the yeah, ever since after 64 PS1 and the Sega Saturn, uh, that's 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 basically where the graphics arguments actually flatline.
Yeah. I mean, used to be like this awesome, like, here's the thing, okay? Now, graphics began to equalize around the PS2 generation. Graphics began to become, it's like, well, this game looks nice, but how does it play? Because people will say, well, the GameCube, like, now it's like a throwback. Oh, the GameCube was standard definition. But here's the thing: you take a high quality GameCube game like Rogue Squadron 2, or Metroid Prime, and I don't mean one of the new upres. I mean the original, and play it. That
Yeah,
game still looks gorgeous. Super Mario Sunshine still looks gorgeous.
gorgeous. Yes, and that and
Just
yeah, and that is not purely graphics. Basically, that's the aestheticness, the art style of it. So yeah,
I mean, so when people tell me, oh, yeah, it's about the graphics, I'm like, look, I don't care about how a game, like, graphics are only like second, third, eh, like, now. Like, okay, when you, like, back in the day, like, NES games that first came out when the NES first came out looked very primitive. But once you got towards the end of the NES's life cycle with games that were coming out when the SNES first came out, a lot of those games look damn near close to SNES games. The SNES, um, when it first came out, a lot of those early games looked like they could have belonged on the NES. Some of them, okay,
Yeah,
they were very simple looking. But towards the end of the generation, those games were looking really good. Like Donkey Kong, look, Crash Bandicoot was made to compete against Donkey Kong Country. Okay,
yeah, yeah. I agree. Um, Now you can pretty much, actually, you can pretty much say, um, no, 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 never mind. Let's skip that. So what else do we
I can
have?
say what. Well, let's see. How are we for time? Okay, we still have another 30 minutes to go, so I guess we can continue busting a little bit more bullshit before we're done. And the bullshit that I would like to bust is this argument that um, the well, the Nintendo is doomed argument.
Oh God. Oh God. Where do we start with this?
Because
Oh,
Nintendo is always doomed. They're
yeah,
always doomed.
yep.
Nintendo
Since
is always Nintendo is always doomed. I mean, haven't hasn't everyone learned this that Nintendo is always doomed?
yeah, Nintendo's been doomed since 1889, but yet they exist. They're still in business. So
Yeah,
it's any time now, Nintendo is doomed.
it's always Nintendo's doomed. Really? They're doomed? Wow. For a company that's doomed, they're doing pretty well for themselves to be doomed.
Yeah, with only 3 years, 3 years of consecutive loss. But hey, that's just 3 years. So by that margin, they're doomed. While the
They've
rest,
they've got like 8 billion in the bank, but they're totally doomed. You're
which is
absolutely right.
which is yeah, um, Nintendo's whole lifetime compared to the 3 years that they lost, they're doomed. Boy, how that does that sound very moronic? But hey, it's a given.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I wish my business could be doomed like Nintendo. I really do.
As do I, my friend. As do I.
I mean, because Nintendo. I mean, the thing that gets me is that like Nintendo has like what 8 billion something in the bank, plus they have their IPs. And I will tell you right now, if Nintendo said, okay, we're gonna sell. Let's see, what's an IP that Nintendo's not using that if they sold, no one would give a shit about. Okay, we're gonna sell. Uh,
Back Rider.
uh, we're gonna sell Mach Rider. We're gonna sell Mach Rider. I guarantee you, someone would spend at least $500 million buying Mach Rider.
And they still wouldn't think what to do with it.
No, because look, Microsoft won, and Microsoft bought Rare, and look how they've basically run Rare into the ground. They don't have a clue how to run Rare. They don't have a clue. They have no idea. It's funny, but also really sad at the same time. It's so sad to see that they have no idea how to. I mean, it's like Rare is like a mystery to is like a total and complete mystery to these people.
I'm, I'm still, I still can't wrap around my head about the whole perfect dot fiasco on the Xbox. I mean, how um um excuse my language, but how can you fuck that up, my friend?
Well, it's easy. You have to remember, when the GameCube generation came around, a lot of people started leaving Rare. So, which is why when Microsoft put in a bid for Rare, Nintendo didn't fight them. They're like, "Oh, go ahead," because the people that made Rare are leaving. And as time passed, the people who made Rare left. Like, which was why I mean, the last really good game that Rare made was Viva Pinata. Okay, that was the last really good rare game Rare made. After that, it was just a whole bunch of BS and useless, like stuff that was just like really, because Perfect Dark Zero was a joke. Perfect Dark Zero was an embarrassment. Like I don't know how you could mess up a game. Like, and here's the thing. Okay,
It's just
you have a you have the Xbox system, which is a system that built its name up around being the multiplayer centric system. The multiplayer centric system. You know, and they messed up a multiplayer game. They also messed up not Ratchet, Banjo Kazooie. They messed up, what else did they mess up? They messed up Banjo Kazooie.
the
They
thing
messed
is
nuts.
the thing is with Perfect Dark Zero, it's a bloody shooter, and Microsoft, I mean, the Xbox brand is basically known for shooters. So you would
Well, I
think,
mean, yeah, but the people who made that were gone. The people who made Perfect Dark and GoldenEye were gone. So what you had left were people who were hired on who had no idea how to make those games, try and make a first-person shooter, and they sucked at it.
you know, I couldn't, hard to believe, but I thought Microsoft would at least money hack those individuals that actually to actually teach the developers that's still at Microsoft, at least teach them how to make the basics, at least the basics, because it seems like even this, when I look at the gameplay for Perfect Dark Zero, even the basics is basically screwed up. And the thing with
Yeah.
with nuts and Banjo Kazooie nuts and bolts. Okay, rumors are going on that Rare is making a Banjo Kazooie game for the Xbox. When they showed or revealed um, the character designs, from that point on, I was like, oh, they're going to screw this up as well. I mean,
Well,
just by
yeah,
the character.
those character designs were fugly as hell. I'm sorry. Those, oh my god, those were some terrible character designs. Banjo looked like he was on roids. Kazooie looked like a chicken.
The thing is, ironically, I was very surprised that at least Conker stayed with its original design. With
Yeah,
and
but then they
with that,
censored it.
the thing is, hold on. Before that, before even the censoring part, it actually gave me hope that, oh, okay, maybe they'll actually respect this franchise. But oh no, like you said, the censoring thing.
Yeah, they censored it, and I'm like, half the fun of Conquer was that it was just so insane, and it had the cursing and the vulgar language. That's what made it good. Why would you ruin the one thing that made this franchise really fun was the cursing? I mean, they censored the theme song for the Great Mighty Pooh. I mean, how are you gonna have a Conquer game and you censor the Great Mighty Pooh? I
and
mean,
to
seriously.
And to be fair, the original game had it actually had its own censoring, but it was light enough that you can actually enjoy what's actually being blurred out. While when they were doing the remake, they even censored more of it, which really um, to be honest, I really thought Microsoft uh, would actually take off the entire censoring that the original game had, but no, it was completely the opposite. I'm like, what the bloody hell, man?
You would think that the censoring would not be there, but I mean, like, here's the thing, okay? Like, in in Conquer Live and Reloaded, the multiplayer was garbage. I'm like, how the hell are you gonna? I mean, because Conquer had actually, like all the rare games on the N64, had a really good multiplayer. And I'm like, this is the console for multiplayer gaming, and the multiplayer is shit. What type of bullshit is this?
The things which which I'm kind of surprised how the first Xbox managed to get that amount of market share, which basically was a miracle. Cause
No, not really. The thing is that the first Xbox didn't do as well as Microsoft wanted. So what they did was, it sold like around 50,000 units, not 50, 50 million units, around the same amount of units as the GameCube. What basically happened was, Microsoft saw that the Xbox was not powerful enough for them. It didn't, so they wanted to basically get the jump because they heard that Sony was making a new console. So they basically rushed their new console to market,
Yeah,
which was why the Xbox 360 had such a high failure rate in the beginning.
the whole Red Ring of Death.
Yeah, which is bullshit all on its own. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I have owned many consoles. Okay, I have owned um, Nintendo consoles, Sony consoles. I've owned um, Hudson, aka the PC Engine consoles. I've owned Sega consoles. I have never had a console. I would never accept a console manufacturer making games that were making systems that broke like that. I wouldn't accept it. And yet there are diehard Xbox fans who like I went through three of them. I'm like, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, but you are. You are an
Um,
absolute idiot. That is not smart.
I am still laughing to this day that God, man. I mean, they couldn't even wait for a redesign. I would have definitely waited for a redesign. But yeah. Anyway, uh, this I wanted to start with this bullshittiness. Since
Okay, go.
back since back to the Wii U release, and I'm keeping it strictly third party with Nintendo. Back in 2011, we have a video reel of.
Unprecedented. Oh yeah.
Hold on. That's tip of the iceberg. We have a video
Okay.
reel of CEO and developers, namely EA, Viscerous Visions, THQ, well, they were still alive back then, Ubisoft, WB Interactive, Fifth Cell, Namco Bandai, Irrational Games, Gear. Oh, actually, skip Gearbox because they weren't a part of the sizzle reel. So I've mentioned like what 8 eight eight companies. Out of the 8 companies, this is where the bullock starts. We have at least five, yeah, five games. You know what? Yeah, let me just count four games that we thought that was going to be released, but they got botched. I'm gonna leave EA last. We have THQ, which, well, given to the financial situation back then, yeah, Metro Last Light couldn't have come to the Wii U, so it was falling on the wayside until another company bought the IP. Ubisoft.
THQ.
Uh, yeah, well, I ended with THQ, but then Ubisoft. We have Rayman Legends, which all of you know that it got it became a multiplat. Now, I am not angry about the whole multiplat thing, but just because Rayman Legends was close to finish, basically already done before release, and start being produced, it became multiplat. And I'm like, oh, really? Why couldn't you let Rayman Legends release on the Wii U at that time and um, bring out bring out for the other consoles the sometime later. No, and from that point on, the shittiness of Ubisoft started, and then we have Ghost Recon, which at the beginning it was a multiplayer, but my gripe with this Ghost Recon situation is they basically left out the single the offline multiplayer, while all the other rest got all their goods, and I'm like, really, the one thing that you guys left out is something that's very essential on the Wii U, which is Nintendo's own philosophy. I mean,
Local
um,
multiplayer.
yes. I mean, I, God be damned. I mean, I would have accepted the online portion to be left out, because that at least it can be patched in. Now I buy the game knowing full well that it doesn't have local multiplayer, and that that should have been in. The online could have been patched in.
Yeah, but you know what the worst thing is? Not only does it not have local multiplayer, the online's broken too.
Exactly. If it had, oh my god, if it had local multiplayer, I would have given
It wouldn't be an
Ubisoft a
issue.
pass.
Yeah, you could
Yes.
invite your friends over and like you could play a little. And here's the thing: the Wii U is built for local multiplayer. Like you can call your you can have one person on the gamepad. Like Hyrule Warriors, the local multiplayer on Hyrule Warriors is going to be sick because you can have someone come in and play on a Pro controller or the Wii and nunchuck. I mean, you can have all your peripherals and everything, and you can play. You can have one person on the gamepad running around. You can have someone on the screen running around. It's awesome. And
And it's,
basically, Ubisoft's like, well, we can't. But here's the thing that gets me: they delay Rayman to port that shit over to everything, including the special features that were only on initially on the Wii U, using Smart Glass and
Art
the Vita.
class at the PlayStation Vita, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh god,
but
seriously.
they couldn't delay. They couldn't delay Splinter Cell, even though they knew that the online for that game is a busted piece of shit, and the multiplayer and the online multiplayer is a busted piece of shit, and it doesn't even have local multiplayer. Oh, Ubisoft. Oh, you people eat you. Ubisoft is a foul company, and I'm not buying any of their games. The only way I would buy a game from Ubisoft is if they said, "Okay, we're making Beyond Good and Evil 2, and we're making no, that's it, just Beyond Good and Evil 2."
And the thing is, that's what's actually adding the fuel to the fire, because if you're going to compare those two incidents of Ubisoft with Rayman Legends and Ghost Recon, they went they just went a complete reversal on each other, which I'm like, really? Like you just said, uh, um, uh, you're gonna delay Rayman, but Ghost Recon, which should have been delayed, you didn't. Well, I rest my case with Ubisoft, but then we have WB Interactive. Oh, we all now um the Batman Arkham uh
RP Armored Edition.
yes, Armored Edition. Oh my god, I need some brain training here. But yeah, anyway, when they came out with the Armored Edition,
Yeah,
Ubisoft, Warner Brothers was okay, but then
yeah,
when the whole Batman origin came along, and again for the Wii U, they scrapped the online portion multiplayer, and I'm
yeah.
like, at first I was
But
like, really, what gives?
you know,
But
I'm gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, but then when I realized, okay, this is online multiplayer. So you know what? After a bit of a thought about it, I'm actually okay with it. I might as well buy the Wii U version and not care if the online portion is good or bad. If it's good, okay, tough luck for me. If it's bad, ooh, God spared me from that one. Now,
Well, let's be honest, okay? It's a Batman game. It's a Batman game. No one like Batman. I mean, it's not a multiplayer game. Like, here's the thing: they added like, first of all, Arkham Origins was not made by Rocksteady. It wasn't made by the people who basically have built that franchise.
true, true,
Multiplayer was tacked on because Warner
yeah,
Brothers said, "Oh, this will make people play it for longer, and they won't trade this game in, and thereby make the value go down, and thereby we'll make more money." But the thing is that like Arkham Origins didn't innovate; it didn't add anything. And here's the thing: Arkham Origins was made by the same people who ported over Armored Edition, which is shocking. Now that being said, they dropped the DLC for Arkham Origins, which, frankly speaking, I wasn't going to buy Arkham Origins anyway
oh,
because
I completely forgot
what?
about that as well. Which
Yeah,
the
they
thing
dropped the DLC.
the thing is, people actually bought the DLC before
Oh yeah,
before
well
the game
they
even
had the
come out.
season pass. Well, they had the
Yeah,
season pass, and Nintendo basically said, you know what, we'll take care of this. Now here's the thing, though. Okay, now I know a lot of people are angry at Warner Brothers, but here's how I feel about Warner Brothers. Okay, Warner Brothers publishes the Traveler's Tales Legos games. Okay, I like the Tales Lego games, and they haven't really screwed us over with those games. Okay, I mean, sure, we don't get any
yeah.
special DLC characters because fuck Nintendo. Even though historically that series, the series games have sold best on Nintendo consoles, but we don't deserve to get any bonus DLC. So whatever. But I mean, like, okay, I have Marvel Lego Avengers made by Traveler's Tales. I have Lego City made by Traveler's Tales. These are really good games.
Yeah,
But then
but
again, Warner
yes.
Brothers is only tangentially related to those games coming out. So I guess it's not that bad.
Now, here's what I have a problem with the whole season pass thing. Why the bloody hell did you give it out in the first place? If you're going to yank it from your consumer base.
No, you know why they did it? Because they put out the season pass because other people bought the season pass and because basically here's what a season pass is, okay? It's you giving a company $20 or $19 or whatever on the promise of them maybe coming out with some decent DLC. Here's what these companies do though, right? They will cut out bits and pieces of a game, right?
Yes.
And then you'll give them $20 for shit that was already supposed to be in the game that they took out, and then they'll
Which is
call
fine.
that their season. They'll call that DLC. Now I will say this much about Bethesda. Bethesda still really does make like DLC, like expansion packs. Like really, it's almost like a whole game within itself in some cases. Nintendo, now that they've started making DLC, aside from New Super Mario Brothers with those course packs, oh god, um, like New Super Luigi U, that's like an entirely new game for $10 if you get it, or $20, like 10, 20, like for a ridiculously low price, you get an entirely new game. Like, and there's some games that Nintendo makes that if they made an expansion pack, I wouldn't be mad. Like if they made an
Yeah,
expansion pack to Super Mario 3D World, I wouldn't get mad.
exactly.
Or
Actually,
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
yes. Actually, I can basically say that the Super Luigi U is basically an expansion pack.
Yeah, but that's how you do. That's how you do an expansion. You basically add an entire new You expand the game. You basically give players who've already played the game or have beaten it. You say, look, here's some new shit to do. Now this stuff now where they're like, oh, we've already got DLC planned for this game. That basically tells me that you either finish this game early and it's not going to be as polished as it should be, or or you left out content so that you could later sell it to me as DLC.
Yeah, which I was kind of fearing for Hyrule Warriors um, when they showed the Twilight Princess costumes, DLC costumes. But yeah,
I don't care. I'm still pre-ordering that game because Twilight Princess is like one of my favorite Legend of Zeldas. I don't care what anyone says. I know a lot of people. It looks like garbage now. Look, every once in a while, I will pull out my Twilight Princess copy for my Wii, for the Wii version of that game, put it in my Wii U, and play it. That game still holds up. Twilight Princess is friggin' awesome. Yes, it has a bloom lighting effect. Yes, the graphics haven't aged well, but damn it, that game is a solid Zelda game. And Midna is one of the best side characters, companion characters in the entire series, and Link as a wolf is fucking badass. And if you don't like it, too bad. I don't care.
I will say,
Link, let me put it this way. If you took Wolf Link versus Link from Skyward Sword, I know everyone, Skyward Sword Link, look, Wolf Link would rip out Skyward Sword Link's throat and pee on his body. Okay? He would. He would, okay? I know people hate to hear that, but it's true. Because, look, Skyward Sword Link would try and run away with that dash meter. He'd run out of stamina and start breathing heavy. Wolf Link would run up behind him, bite him, rip out his throat, and kill him.
with a little help of Midna.
No, even without Midna, if you added Midna, it wouldn't even be a fight because he just used
yeah.
that feral attack where he just rips dudes to shreds and it'd be over. You know, I can roll this bomb like a bowling ball. Oh, that's cute. I turn into a wolf and rip people's throats out. I ride a giant bird. Oh, that's cute. I get ridden by a little imp girl who winds up to turn out into a total hottie. Yeah, I can't. I fight a dude who makes me sexually uncomfortable in my game. You got me beat there, son. I'm sorry. I didn't do that in my game. Sorry. I helped an old lady out. Does that count?
Well, anyway, back on it. Now, I did mention Gearbox, but
Oh God! Don't get me started with those assholes.
you know what? And the thing is, after this whole Alien Colonial Marines fiasco, I kind of start digging deeper in Gearbox, only to find out that um, the Borderlands franchise. I found out that the assets that they were using for Borderlands, it was actually from another game. Now, to be fair, I am not certain that that Gearbox actually used the same codes for the of that game to use on the Borderlands for its assets. So I'm hoping
Wouldn't
it's
surprise me if they did, though. It
um,
wouldn't surprise me if they did, though.
now I really hope that that's not the case, because if it is, Gearbox is actually off my off my company list altogether.
Well, let's be frank. Gearbox, if it's not like, okay, like I heard they're coming out with a new game called Battleborn, and the game looks like it's just a massive online It's a massive online multiplayer focused version of Borderlands. That's what it looks like. Like you have like 4 or 5 or 6 different classes. Each class has their own strengths and weaknesses, and they run around completing objectives on a huge map. I mean, it's like Gearbox can't do anything right unless it's Borderlands. Like it's a Borderlands style game. Like they messed up Colonial Marines, they messed up Duke Nukem Forever. And here's the thing, Duke
What's
Nukem
some
Forever
plot?
could have been awesome. It could have been awesome, but oh, I mean, that game. I downloaded that game for free because I have a merchant thing, and Sony's constantly sending me free stuff because I technically I signed up for this thing when because I did a lot of business with Japanese style companies for arcade machines and stuff, and
Huh.
I mean, they're always sending me like, "Hey, PS Plus," and I'm like, basically, I have like 5 or 6 unused things for PS Plus, like 6 month, a year things for PS Plus, and basically, I get it for
Bloody
like
hell.
every few months they send me another one, and I don't even use it. But one time I did use it because I heard there was an interesting sale for the Sony system, and I got the Duke Nukem Forever. That game is so. I mean, oh god, it had so much potential, but it just.
That
If
kind of
here's the thing, had Duke Nukem Forever came out 5 years ago, it would have done pretty well. Even 3 years ago, before it came out, it would have done pretty well. But
yeah.
I mean, we have better first-person shooters now than Duke Nukem.
And the thing, I wasn't. I'm surprised that that the Duke Nukem game couldn't have capitalized on shooters today.
Well, the thing is just like okay, let me put it this way. I okay. I'm an old school gamer. I was playing like shooters when they first started. Like I played Castle Wolfenstein 3D. I played Duke Nukem. I played Doom. I played like shooters like that. So I mean the stuff that Duke Nukem has in it, I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised by this because this is what I grew up playing. But the fact that you have a quote unquote modern game where you can only carry two guns. Even Serious Sam, and Serious Sam is like borderline old school shooter. Serious Sam has you can carry a ton of weapons, not in 2 weapons. And when you find a new weapon, it's like, well, I guess I'll be using this, even though I preferred to use this other one. I mean, the game is just very old school, and parts of it look really good, and parts of it look like garbage. I mean, it's like there's 3 things they could have done to save Duke Nukem. Gearbox could have done to save Duke Nukem Forever. First of all, they wouldn't have done it because Gearbox seems to be a lazy company. They stick with what they know, and they don't want to do any type of effort to do something different. But
You know what?
if they had made
I'm sorry. You know what? I wouldn't give them a fuss if even if they stick with one franchise, but at least give a proper development for it. I can pass.
no, the thing is that they like. Here's the thing. Okay, it's like Borderlands. Borderlands is a fun game. I own and have beaten and have maxed out characters, like 2 or 3 maxed out characters on both versions. Even though they killed my favorite character in the second one, those bastards. But anyway, but that's another story for another day. Um,
And
anyway,
speaking of
but I mean,
Borderlands, um,
yeah.
uh, at the time that I was searching information for Gearbox, I came to a certain YouTuber that has a username that goes gamers getting played. One word. It was a very old chap. He's a veteran, and boy, the videos that he put up, and especially if it comes to Gearbox, he really makes a fit of what that company represents, and the franchise Borderlands and Borderlands 2. I mean, um, the things you say about companies coaxing um, children to actually buy these contents, only later to find out that parents were like, "Hey, wait a minute! I didn't buy such stuff." Turns out the kids bought something of that game without even knowing.
Well, in Borderlands 2, they had a microtransaction system, which was bullshit.
Yes.
But my issue with Borderlands is because when I got Borderlands 2, it came with the free season pass if you got it like brand new, so I didn't have to worry about that. My issue with Borderlands is purely gameplay mechanics that are kind of baffling. Like
Really?
if you play Borderlands, the classes don't really matter. Like they
Oh.
really like okay, let me put it this way. Let's say you're playing as the stealth character in Borderlands 2, Zero, okay? And you turn invisible and you snipe someone. All of these dudes will home in on where you are, no matter what you do. I'm like, you're playing a dude who's sniping people. If you like, the enemies do not react the way they should. Like, if you snipe someone, the dudes should be running for cover. They shouldn't be all rushing you. This is that
No, no.
it's asinine. You can't really play as a stealth character. The
So,
melee attacks.
wait a minute. So, as a sniper, as soon as you shoot someone, they know exactly where you are. They know
Yeah,
exactly
they
where
know
the shot
exactly where
came.
you are. There is
Oh
no
my
type of
god!
I mean, Borderlands is a fun game. Don't get me wrong. I've played and beaten both of them. I have maxed them out. I'm not getting Borderlands the pre-sequel because screw Handsome Jack. But like I really played the hell out of Borderlands. But I'm not playing. I like that Borderlands has an RPG feel, you level up and all that stuff, but there are some mechanical issues that keep Borderlands from being like here's what would make Borderlands a better game, okay? They make this big huge world and that's nice. You move from map to map to map and that's nice. If they really wanted to make Borderlands awesome, here's what they could do. Like three things for Borderlands 3. I know they're not going to do it in the pre-sequel, but for Borderlands 3. One, have classes that actually matter. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, actually have classes that actually matter. Like the soldier should be huge damage dealing dude. Your berserker, whoever you have who does like physical, who's really good at melee attacks, their melee attacks should be insanely powerful, like the equivalent of a really powerful weapon, like a
Wait,
projectile weapon.
hold on.
What?
The berserkers, they don't have high attack power.
Their melee attacks, like their normal melee attacks, if they activate their special ability, it's powerful. But I'm like, here's the thing: you have muscles the size of like steel girders. Your arms are the size of steel girders. If you punch someone, they should be taking huge amounts of damage. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's just how I feel. But anyway, classes should matter. Like the siren, the one who uses essentially magic. You know, she should have a healing ability that can heal herself and others because she's the
Right.
healer. I mean, your stealth character should be able to stealth people. They should be able to shoot someone and have people wondering where they are, and then basically stealth and shoot someone from someplace else, and just really mess with people. They should be able to do that. Vehicles are awesome. I should not hit in like the true vault hunter mode, which is like which is like the harder difficulty version of Borderlands, and it's the second version, which is like the like real true Vault Hunter mode. I shouldn't, if I'm in a vehicle, if I run into an enemy, unless they're like a big huge enemy, I should be able to run them down and the vehicle not take any damage. And that's some BS. I hit someone and my car blows up. I'm sorry. Like that's some bullshit. Sorry. and
Okay.
and finally, and the third thing they need to do in Borderlands 3 is actually have important shit go on in the town. Like, okay, like in Borderlands 2, you get this awesome floating base from one of the abandoned companies, and you can basically use it to like do all. I mean, but you get it, and there's like nothing you can do with it. You raise the shields. That's about it. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if you could like go into this thing and fly it to other areas and like call in the thing to bombard your enemies? Like maybe like you like every time you kill an enemy, it fills up a meter. You kill like 1,000 enemies or 10,000 enemies, you can call down an airstrike and just wipe out an area of enemies. Like, make shit that matters in the next Borderlands. Because I'm telling you something, I would get the next Borderlands, whether it be on PS4 or Xbox One, and obviously it's going to be on PC. But I'd get it. But I mean, it's just these people need to start making some better. I mean, Borderlands. I mean, I like it. I like the game, but the character classes are just kind of fucking useless at the end of the day.
Oh man.
It's like, okay, they're like, okay, like you play as the soldier, and then they're like, well, if you're the soldier, you won't be good with sniping rifles, and I'm sniping the hell out of people, and it doesn't really matter. I'm like, come on, man, come on,
Oh god.
play better. But you said Gearbox. What about 2K and Ken Levine?
Man,
Mister, I could imagine playing this game in bed, this system next to my wife, and not waking her up. No 2K games on the system except for NBA 2K14 or 13. Sorry, 13.
nice, because I was about to go for Kevin Levine with Irrational Games.
Yeah.
I correct me if I'm wrong. Did he actually, or did Irrational Games actually announce? I think, what was it again? Oh crap! What was the that game?
BioShock 2.
Yes. Did they ever announce BioShock 2 for the Wii U?
It was implied that they were gonna bring it over. Like he was like, I could see so many things I could do with this innovative technology, and then basically he was like, oh wait, no, I'm not gonna. Like, but you know what? I'm not gonna say anything about Ken Levine because he's been coasting off of System Shock 1 and 2 and BioShock for like the last 20 something years. So I'll let him ride it out a little bit longer. But if he doesn't come
Yeah.
out with a good game in the next 5 or 6 years, I'm writing him off.
Yeah.
Because
I would.
Bioshock 2 sucked, but the original Bioshock was good. Um, it was very atmospheric. System Shock 1 and 2, I played those games. Those were awesome on PC. But the latest one was okay. It wasn't as good as the first Bioshock, though.
True. True.
It's
Well,
hard to top. It's hard to top the original Bioshock because that game was so good.
yeah. Well, what actually surprise to me is that Irrational Games was actually closed down, and Kev Levine actually handpicked 15 people um to work on future games. Now, clearly, yeah, that's downsizing.
Yeah, but why is that shocking though? I mean, because here's the thing, okay? Like literally, like
To be, oh, sorry. To be honest, it was shocking at first, but when I thought about it, it it is reasonable because, well, for one, the cost of AAA games or development. Uh,
yeah. I mean, they were expecting like okay, BioShock Infinite sold like I want to say at the most 1.5, 2 million. They were expecting that to sell like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 billion, and it
Oh,
didn't reach it. It didn't reach its sales projections. And here's the thing: it wasn't going to reach its sales projections because all this other stuff came out. And look, listen, I liked BioShock. I played BioShock Infinite. I downloaded it for free off of PS Plus, and it was an interesting game. But the thing is that it's an interesting game, but it's not to the quality that it could have been. You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh,
Like that game could have been. That game could have been. That game could have been. That game could have been really good. You know, that game could have been like
actually,
Bioshock Infinite. First of all, Booker DeWitt is one of the worst protagonists I've ever seen. Um,
ouch.
like here's the thing. Bioshock Infinite was needlessly confusing just for the sake of being needlessly confusing. Like that
Yeah,
game did not have to be like okay, Bioshock. Spoiler alert: the big twist is that your main character is the brainwashed, hypnotized, aborted fetus of Andrew Ryan's kid. Um, that was supposed that like and that's why you could open all those doors and stuff because you were his kid, and everything was keyed to his DNA. Um,
all right.
and basically, whenever someone said "you kindly," that was the key word to get you to do whatever they wanted you to do. So there was no train accident, there was no plane crash. You basically crashed that plane. You attacked people and blew it up and caused it to crash to get back to Rapture. And that was a cool twist. It was like, wow, I didn't see that coming. You didn't see it coming. Like, it really was a really good twist. There are very few games that I've played where it's like, wow, that I didn't see that coming. But Bioshock Infinite, it's like they were like, how are we going to top what we did in Bioshock? Oh, I know. We'll come up with some convoluted story with alternate realities and all this weird shit. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, you didn't. I mean, like literally, I'll tell you what would have made Bioshock Infinite good. Okay, if they want to do alternate realities, they do an alternate reality where instead of Rapture failing, it succeeds. Right? It becomes this underwater utopia. Right? And you have someone from Rapture. Like Rapture is under attack by like New Liberty or whatever the hell they call that floating city in BioShock Infinite. You have
I
these
think.
two totally like these two totally opposite cities fighting against each other. Dudes like Big Daddies fighting those other dudes from New Liberty. You've got like plasmids versus vigors. I mean, that would have been an awesome game, but instead
Yeah, yeah,
we
that would have
get
been an interesting twist.
I mean, it would have been awesome had we seen, the Would You Kindly man. You want to have Booker DeWitt? Okay, you have the Would You Kindly dude. Except in this one, and in the alternate future, Andrew Ryan manages to save his instead of having his unborn son attempted to aborted, he has a kid, and Rapture is instead of becoming this mess of a city, it's now a vibrant place, and these other people are trying to take it out. I mean, that would have been an awesome. That would have been an awesome game, and you could play as either protagonist, just basically trying to take down Comstock and all this stuff. But instead, we get this convoluted ass story with like time breaks and dimensions and multiple dimensions and just weird shit going. I mean, it's like and it's like forced. Like here's the thing: I hate games that try to be too damn deep. It's like all of David. It's like David. That's David Cage's problem from Sony. All from Quantic Dream. All of these dudes' games, he tries so hard to be forced and witty and all nuanced. I'm like, dude, just make a fucking game that's fun, okay? look, if I want to get deep philosophical, I'll go to my college library or my master's school's my school's library, because it's just the school's library. I'll go to the school's library and I'll read some deep philosophical text by Friedrich Nietzsche or the dude who created communism, or shoot, what's his name? Jesus. Machiavelli's The Prince. Why in the hell would I want to read some garbage? I mean, it's just make a fun game. Just make a game that's fun. Okay? Like, okay, Nintendo just tries to make fun games. Their games are also masterpieces, but they're primarily fun, and then they just happen to be masterpieces. Focus on fun first, then you can start worrying about trying to tell some deep, interesting story.
Well, these third parties, they want to go for the whole cinematic experience, and
Yeah,
story has to be. Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's right. All I'm going to say is this. If I want to watch a movie, I'll go watch a movie. I'll go to a matinee because, look, I'm going back to school for my master's. Yeah, I own my own business, but, I mean, shit, time's hard for everybody.
yeah,
I'll go to a matinee and I'll spend like $6, $7 and I'll watch a movie. That's why I paid $6 or $7 to watch that movie. I do not want to, like, I play video games because I get, like, movies and video games do not mix, because a movie is the story is being told to you. You have no input on what the story is going to be. Even though there's some movies where I wish I could have had some input in what the story was going to be, like all of Michael Bay's Transformers films. But
no, 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 no.
yes, yes, yes. I wish I could have had some input in those films, mainly not having them being made by Michael Bay. But anyway, um,
Yeah,
but a video game, you have control over that. Like, okay, I can control how I fight that boss in a Zelda game. I can control how I fight that boss in a Metroid Prime game. I have zero control over what the hell's going on in a movie. And why someone would want to take a medium that is fundamentally about giving control to the player and turn it into a medium that they want to take that control away. But then again, it makes sense because all these third parties want to take the control away from the player. This is why they have microtransactions and DLC, day one DLC, and all this bullshit. Oh,
yeah. Well, here's the thing I skipped with with Batman Origin. Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
I skipped the whole glitchiness of that game, which to this day has still not been patched. And the the ironic part of this is, okay, all three versions are like glitch fast,
And
but
they're not fixing it.
yeah, but the Wii U has less the game breaking bugs, which I'm like, okay, the version that's gimped with no online multiplayer is actually the dare I say, the better or more polished of the three.
But let's be honest, though. Um, like that, Arkham Origins was rushed. Like, basically, Warner Brothers said
No
Rocksteady's not
arguments
going to
there.
have a
No arguments there.
well, Warner Brothers said, okay, Rocksteady's not going to have a game ready for another game ready for quite some time. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to just kind of
Yes.
we're just going to kind of just like throw something out there and people are going to buy it.
And you
People
know
are
what?
going to buy it, and there's nothing we can do. There's nothing they can do about it because we need to capitalize on the Arkham brand.
And you know
And the
what?
thing is, they made a mediocre. I mean, like, here's the thing: Arkham Origins is a mediocre game. It's mediocre. It's not a good game. It's not really bad either. It's just mediocre.
Yeah.
It's like there was nothing new added. It doesn't add anything to the Arkham, like, because the thing is that, like, And here's the thing: Arkham Knight is looking like it's going to be more of the same.
With a Batmobile.
Yes, with a Batmobile.
Yeah. And speaking about the whole um the local and online multiplayer, at that time I remember what Peter Molyneux said about the Wii U. It's a console. It's an offline console in an online market. And you know when he
Which is
said that.
bullshit, but
Oh, wait. Let me get a little. When he said that, I have to say, I I would kind of agree with him because one, at least with the Wii U, if anything happens with the internet connection or online community, and I still have electricity, I can still play my freaking games.
yeah.
So yeah, you were saying it was bullshit.
No, the reason I say it's BS is because, like, when people tell me that the Wii U doesn't have online, I'm like, look, have you been on the
Oh
eShop?
yes,
Have
that's
you
definitely
been
true.
on the Have you been
That's
on the
definitely,
eShop?
apparently they have not.
I mean, the eShop has everything you could want on a system. It's got it's got some awesome games. It's got everything you could possibly want. So when people tell me, "Oh, it doesn't," like, that's online. That shit is online. The eShop is online.
Yes. Yes. I will agree with you that that was definitely a Bullock's thing to say. But I guess he was
I mean, look at Mario Kart. Look at Mario Kart 8. That game is really online. Yeah, the online might not be perfect, but Nintendo, I mean, like, here's the thing, okay? If Nintendo had like a lot of online consoles, the um the PS3 or the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One, I would say, okay, that makes sense. But really, this is like their first real heavily online console. Not to mention that the Wii U had some games that were heavy online too. So for
and to
someone
be
to
honest,
say
keep going.
that it doesn't have online, that's just BS. That's BS. That's BS that people are using to throw off on the console because they don't want to say, oh, they don't want to admit that the console is better. Like, people don't want to admit that the Wii U
Oh,
no every time we hear about the Wii U every passing month where they show more stuff, the Wii U is starting to look like a more um, attractive console. Okay,
yes.
like the Wii. I'll be honest with you. The Wii made Nintendo complacent. I'm not gonna say it made them weak or not want to compete. It made them complacent, okay? Because I mean, like, here's the thing: Nintendo already makes the best first-party games. So I mean, who are they gonna compete with on first-party level? The only thing that they lack in is like online features. And frankly speaking, considering what Xbox Live used to be to what it is now, uh, that's not really what I would call, oh my god, this is the best thing in the world. to me, I'm like, okay, let me
Yeah.
put it this way. And I know people say, well, you can just mute people. Let me tell you something. If you have a console where your solution to messed up stuff is, well, you can just mute people, that is not a solution. Okay? That's just hiding from the issue. If you have a console where people are calling people derogatory names like um, this is just me using examples. This is not was something I'd actually say. Faggot and queer, and telling me how they had made love to my mother, especially if this is coming from someone who's like a little kid, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have a problem. There's gonna be an issue.
There's gonna be an
There's gonna
issue
be
when there's gonna be an issue when they grow up and they will think that's acceptable.
Well, not just that. People are doing this. People think it's okay to say that stuff out loud to someone because, oh well, you know they It's online. Like, you would never say that to someone to their face, but if
Face.
it's online, you're gonna say it, and that's just kind of stupid.
Yeah. I mean, uh, like you said about the whole online interaction with the, yeah, from the first Xbox till now. Yes, it really hasn't improved much, but I think when Microsoft started to ban people, um, at that time I really thought Microsoft was trying to um, uh, um, oh, wanted to in place some structure in online interacting, but how they went about it was very crude, and
Yeah.
I wish in a way there's some yeah, there should be some um, structural integrity in on the online division of the Xbox. I just wish Microsoft didn't went in a ham-fisted way and then give up all entirely.
You mean the Xbox One?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you.
Now,
I got to disagree with you on that one. I think Microsoft knew exactly what they were doing with the Xbox One. Microsoft, like I said, with these third parties, Microsoft wanted to take the control out of the consumer's hands and put it in the hands of Microsoft and
uh,
third parties, because
yeah,
Microsoft wanted
yeah, that I agree. I agree entirely with you. It
Microsoft wanted to be able to say, okay, because Microsoft, look, they are tired of money hatting too. They're all tired of money hatting. They're
yeah,
tired. They're tired of paying these people all this money, and the people can't even be bothered, like, to do this stuff. So what they were going to do is basically say, okay, we're tired of giving these people all this money. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it so that basically, um, like, people who play our games are gonna have to pay to, like, they can't just trade it in, and you're gonna get your cut, right? So
yeah,
they were gonna take that. But here's the thing. I mean, like, listen, okay, if I pay $60 for a game and I trade it in, I mean, the game is mine. It's like they wanted to turn gaming from a good, because that's what it is. It's a good, okay? Gaming, like, okay, if I buy a disc, it's a good. It's a consumed good. I mean, I'm not. You can consume it until it's scratched up some more till you can't use it anymore. But it's a consumed good. They wanted to take that right from me and you and other gamers, to take that disc and use it any way we want to. And where they were going to say, well, we're gonna make sure you can do it. You have to do it the way we say you're going to do it. And for people like that, I only have one thing to say: F you.
yeah.
I, I
Yes,
buy a game.
I com-
It's
I'm sorry, Redfall. I completely agree with you on that. Actually, I was going on about this structural integrity of online is actually um, uh, make make a bunch of community where, well, where one community doesn't exactly create a fuss over the other, and in a way, actually in a way, Nintendo's doing that with the Wii U. It's just uh, how can I say this? Let's just say, even though the Nintendo is on that path, they still haven't figured out or find out a very perfect way. That's where I'm going with it. Red Fox.
Yeah, I heard you. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, it's not just that. It's just basically like, okay. And I
Yeah,
mean, I hate to say this. I mean, this is part of the BS podcast, and I guess, um, like, we might wrap it up after like one or two more topics. But what I was gonna say, like the thing about the Xbox One that I kind of noticed was it seems like, but I mean, for the Xbox One and the PS4, it seems like the consumer was not in mind,
Yes.
was not in what they wanted to make in favor of making this console. Like they weren't like, oh well, the consumer was not what they had first and foremost in mind. The Xbox One was made so that Microsoft would stop losing money on shit getting traded in. It was made so that they could sell your data to see what you were watching, what you were spending money on, to Google, so in turn they could get money for advertising, so that they could make up the huge, because they have not made turned a profit in the Xbox division yet. Yet.
Yes.
Since its creation, it hasn't. Okay. Um,
Which is
that's what the Xbox One was made for. It was made so that Microsoft could make some money. And I understand that. I mean, I'm in business to make money too. I understand that.
yeah.
But I'm not going to sit there and bend my customers over and pull down their pants and basically ram something up their behind with no lube and
Yeah.
take advantage of them like that, so that I can say, oh well, we because I mean, people are like, well, I mean, everything about the Xbox One initially was very anti-consumer. Like, okay, you want to trade something in, well, you're gonna have to go through an approved dealer. It's like, fuck you. But I mean, and that was bad enough. But then we got to I mean, that was bad enough. But then we got to, oh, and the Kinect's always going to be on, so that people can't, so that it recognizes when you're playing the game, and you have to check, like, it's constantly buffering and checking to see if the right person is playing the game.
Yeah, that was
and
bullocks. That was
and
really
then
bullock.
like the game is not actually going to be on the disc, it's going to be on the cloud, and the disc is just the physical proof that you bought the game. I'm like, what type of bullshit is this? and then
Well,
and then finally like they were like, well, the reason we have this is so that you can have a family thing that other people can play the game. Then it turns out that's not exactly the truth. See, what really is that they can play like a 30-minute demo of a game that's in your library if they're on an approved list of friends. Me saying this makes it sound like it's someone trying to take advantage of you, and that's what Microsoft started out with. Not to mention, you always needed an always online internet connection in order to use the damn thing. And even now, the Xbox One, you get one, you have to download a patch in order to make sure that you can play the thing offline. And so this goes out to Major Nelson, Larry Rib. Yeah, it's something they can turn off with a button, fucker. But anyway,
yeah, which
that yes man, people are like, well, Major Nelson's a fucking yes man collecting his paycheck so he can get paid, okay? Because look, anyone who was an actual gamer at Microsoft would have seen the bullshit coming off of the Xbox One and said, this is some bullshit. They're not going to accept this. And I'm glad gamers didn't, because that was some shit, okay? But then it gets worse, because Microsoft, I'll give them this much, they were out in the open with their bullshit. We get Sony. Sony, which is, Sony is the sneak in your back door to hide the bullshit people. Here's what Sony did. Sony basically came in. Sony brought their behinds in here, and they dropped their camera, which was going to do the same thing as Microsoft's camera, because Sony's been copying Microsoft since the PS3. So they were going to copy Xbox on that one, the Xbox One. Their cloud computing service that's going to basically, oh, and I forgot, no backwards compatibility with either of these next-gen consoles. PS Now, they're going to charge you money to play games you might already have the physical copy of from last gen.
I mean,
like $30 to rent the shit for 3 months. Really? And here's the thing. they're charging you those PS Now prices. They're charging you for stuff that literally you could get it cheaper if you went to a GameStop or EB Games. Well, EB Games doesn't exist anymore. If you
Yeah,
went to a Target or a Walmart or Kmart even, they're going to charge you more than if you went to an actual physical retail store and bought the shit. Really, Sony? Really, really? Oh god, you people are off the chain. I mean, and they're
yeah.
sneaky.
That,
Sony is so damn sneaky, and that's what I really like. Sony used to have their own unique style, but over the years, since the end of the PS2 up to the PS3 and now in the PS4, they are some sneaky sons of bitches. I mean, they're real shady. They do some real shady stuff that kind of really. I mean, I'm like, that's kind of shady.
I mean, the whole thing about the camera had something to do with the spying on you. If it wasn't for that, Microsoft would have been off on a better foot today.
No, no. The camera was bad enough, but just generally, like, if there was a wrong thing to say or do when the Xbox One first launched in those 6 months, they did. The always on camera was bad enough, but then you have to be online all the time. You can't trade
But
your
that
games
makes
except through
yeah,
prescribed
that makes
dealers. No backwards compatibility. What really put the final nail in the coffin was $500 retail for a system that it turns out is weaker than its competition, which is some bullshit. It was all the Kinect camera they were charging you for.
which
I'm like, seriously? This is
which
what you? Go ahead.
yeah, with segues this segue to my next topic, which is PR disasters. And yeah,
Yeah.
but before I want to get there, I just wanted to have a quick mention of 505 Games, the people behind the Sniper Elite, which they gimped entirely on the Wii U. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Let's go on to the PR disasters. Now, I have three candidates up here. I got Warner Brothers Interactive, EA, and mother of all, Ubisoft. Now, I'm going to start with Warner Brothers Interactive because, again, the whole bugfest with the Batman Origins, and it's still not passion yet. You have another Batman game that's coming. Yeah, uh, WB, what the hell? Now on to EA. We already went through with the whole Sims, online Sims fiasco, the whole Battlefield 4, which again, whole lot of bug-fested glitches. Although they are still, or at this time, still trying to patch it with okay, EA, but I'll give you that. And then uh, let's see. The whole football soccer game that it'll be on um, finger quoting next gen systems, but
I
passes the
disagree
Wii.
with you.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Okay.
disagree with
Okay.
you. The only reason I disagree with you is just for one thing, for one reason. Um, like Battlefield 4 is a broken piece of shit, and yet they're already making
Battlefield
off of the
5.
same engine a Battlefield, another game in the series using the same engine, which means it's going to be a broken piece of shit too. They're putting out two broken pieces of shit
Thank you,
within
Mr.
18 months of each other.
Thank you, Mr. Red Fox. I knew I missed something.
That is what I call a colossal and massive mound of bullshit.
And, and you know what surprised me at the time when Battlefield 4 came out? When I'm not sure if you know this man, Kevin Pereira.
I remember Kevin Pereira. Didn't he disappear? Didn't he die or something? No, I'm joking. I know Kevin Pereira. Kevin Pereira is like a pseudo gamer, who basically like I mean, he used to be really good. Kevin
Oh,
Pereira used to be really
he
good
used to
at
be. Yeah, he used to be.
Kevin Pereira was, I mean, here's the thing. All those dudes from G4, like after they left G4, it kind of went to the on the skids like I knew when Kevin Pereira left, G4 was in trouble. Like Adam Sessler leaving, I was like,
Yeah.
Adam Sessler, I don't really care. But when Kevin Pereira left, I knew G4 was in deep, deep, deep trouble. When
Heck,
Ke- when
Olivia Munn left before he did, and then that when he left, yeah, G4 was a point of disaster, and I still can't. No, you know what? No, I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna go there. Continue.
No, you can say it. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, how can a channel that had so much potential just to be a gaming centric channel, how the bloody hell did that went off rail?
It went off the rails for one very good reason.
I know you're going to say
Like
that.
no, the reason it went off the rails is very simple. It went off the rails because basically, for all intensive purposes, they tried to make it about all. They wanted to entice a different group of people. Like if they had made G4, like if they had lowered the budget and made it just all about gaming, comic books, sci-fi
Yes,
stuff, it would have been pretty good. But then
yes.
they ballooned the budget and made it about all this shit that gamers don't care about. Like okay, women that most gamers are never gonna go with talking up stuff that they're never going to do. I mean, and had people talking about games that were never gamers, never played games, weren't even old school gamers. I mean, I mean, like, here's the thing. I know it's kind of like I don't date women that are that are younger than me
Yeah,
because they're not going to understand the same shit I like because I'm old school. Like
yeah,
even though I'm
because
only
they
28,
haven't. Yes, they haven't had the experience yet.
even though I'm only 28, I mean, okay, let me put this away. My parents were baby boomers. They grew up in like the 70s. Like I still collect vinyl. Okay, I like Marvin Gaye, Barry White, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson. Uh,
Oh,
I'm old school like that.
at
And
least, sorry.
people today come up to me saying they like this dude, they like that dude. I'm like, yeah, oh, yeah, that's
Uh,
nice. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm old school. Okay, I like the old classics. I don't like all this newfangled, all this stuff. Now that isn't to say there aren't some new people I like, but generally speaking, I'm old school. But as I was saying, these people don't seem to realize is that gaming I mean like gaming has changed. Gaming has evolved, but I mean, you know,
oh, it
the
has evolved, all
standard
right.
the
It has
general
evolved.
standards stay the same. The general
Yeah.
standards, the general core of gaming stays the same. And that's why when I saw that BS coming from those people, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. Especially not Warner Brothers. Oh god.
Right. Well, let's pass that, and then we have Ubisoft.
Oh god. Those assholes.
Uh, the whole Watch Dogs thing, the whole watered down PC. Um, how how Ubisoft? How could you let this happen? And this is not the first case either.
I don't know why you said let. They look, listen. They
Yeah,
did this because they wanted basically okay, what you saw at E3 in 2012, that was like the show, that was the facade. That was to get you in the
yeah.
door.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like going basically EA is like seeing a really fine woman and then you follow her home and you find out she's totally disgusting. Like she picks her nose and wipes it on the couch. She it's
You know what?
she doesn't wash her hands. She doesn't wash her hands when she goes to the bathroom. It just it's like,
You know,
wow, you look so fine, but you're really disgusting.
you know what that you know what that made me remember? That's that scene in White Chicks where that big buff Terry Crews was going after well one of the two dudes in the drag dress, and he um, tried to put the moves on her. Well, actually him, until one of the Wayans brothers basically went on the dirty route. And guess what? The character of Terry Crews actually liked that as well. So, he was.
no, the dude. No, the dude was like, "I'm a man. I'm a man." He's like, "I'm shocked." No, they finally show their. He's like, "I'm shocked. I've been bamboozled. You're a lie.
No,
What do you mean
no,
that
no,
I'm a man?
no,
No, that you're not."
no, not that. Not that scene. The scene where when they were dating and the Wayans brother was really trying to brush the dude that guy off, and tried to do so many disgusting stuff, and yet it still backfired. Yeah, I would see
No.
yeah, I would see Ubisoft as that. They don't care. Uh,
They take the rag off the bush. They do not care. Ubisoft will make a garbage game, and they just. I guess the PR disaster would be that they just keep on getting caught. I mean, because here's the
yeah,
thing: if I'm gonna basically make a garbage game, if I'm gonna make, and here's the thing, Watch Dogs, like people are like, why did Watch Dogs get delayed? I'll tell you, Watch Dogs got delayed because Ubisoft wanted to get Watch Dogs as far away from Grand Theft Auto as humanly possible. If Grand Theft
yeah.
Auto was a mongoose, Ubisoft's Watch Dogs would be a snake. And anyone who knows anything about mongoose is that those things will go out of their way to kill a snake. They don't even eat the snake. They just kill it anyway. Okay?
Well, after what Ubisoft put out, that is Watch Dogs, I can see why they wanted to dread away from Grand Theft Auto, which
Well, they knew it was a garbage game. I mean,
yeah,
it's not it's not it's look. The game is essentially, for all intents and purposes, it is essentially Assassin's Creed in the future. Okay? That's what Watch Dogs is. It's Assassin's Creed in the future. And
yeah.
if you like Assassin's Creed in the future, God bless you, but I mean, I don't want to play Assassin's Creed in the future.
Yeah, which basically is saying about the whole Ubisoft taking hostage of their own unreleased or unfinished no, unreleased game, which brings back to another PR fiasco with Ubisoft again, is with the whole Assassin's Creed Unity, where all the four playable characters are male, and guess what? The press was trying ask PR from Ubisoft asking why isn't there any women or female characters in here? And oh my gosh, this is the most retarded thing I have ever heard.
It was
Ubisoft
too much
basically,
work.
yeah, not even just too much work. No, it would be too costly. And I'm like,
Yeah, it was too much
oh,
money. Which, to be
what?
to be frank with you, I mean, I'm not gonna look. I saw the little E3 trailer for their new Assassin's Creed game. you do realize they're using the same like 4 character models for every single character in that game, right?
That's one, yes.
So I mean, I understand why it would have been too much work because they're lazy bastards anyway. They're using the same 4 characters for all the models.
Now, that's the thing. What I did not hear that what I did not hear what that they said is basically what you just said. If they said that, they would have. It wouldn't have been this much disaster that it is now. But it also begs the question. Something that uh, Jim Sterling of Jimquisition was saying. One, you basically Ubisoft is saying one, either you're one lazy bastard, or two, they are telling the truth that it really is costly for them to even make a female character. And if it's really that, then the way that they develop their games, they need a complete makeover.
Well, here's my question, and it's just a very small one. If it's too expensive to have a character and just like give them like, here's the thing, they don't even have to do a face, just a hood, a cloak, and just have the character have some, like, make them a shorter character with a chest, and boom, you got a female character. You don't even need to show her face, just have her assassinate. You got a female assassin right there. You can't even do that. You're just a lazy ass developer. I'm sorry.
And the thing is, it's a freaking demo. And when Ubisoft was saying that, I've been hearing other developers say, well, no, it's not that. It's not costly to make female protagonists or characters for a game. So I'm like, Ubisoft, are you the only one that's having this Oh God, I'm so flabbergasted. I mean, look at the. I hate to bring. I didn't want to bring Nintendo in this, but yeah, it's kind of like Jim said. Look at Nintendo. They even got more female characters in their own games.
Yeah, they do. But then again, Nintendo is right now, they're trying to go for the female demographic. But Nintendo has always really had really strong protagonists.
Heck yeah, even un, unplayable ones that they are deemed playable characters. But hey, so when Ubisoft said that, and when I saw Jim Sterling's video on this situation, I'm like, really? No wonder companies just go out of business left and right in this industry. If
Yeah,
that's the case.
basically.
And people are saying, "Oh, Nintendo is doomed." Sorry, I have to bring that back. Oh.
Look, if Nintendo is doomed,
Yes, we're
if
thinking really hard here.
if Nintendo is doomed, then I'm gonna tell you who else is doomed. Um, if Nintendo is doomed, then I'll tell you who else is doomed. Um, if Nintendo is doomed, then Sony is ultra doomed. Okay.
Oh yes, yes, and just what Shuhei Yoshida said back then. We need Nintendo to survive. We need Nintendo to exist so we can survive. I'm like,
Of
I'm
course
like,
they need. Of course they need Nintendo to exist. Do you know how bad? Do you know how bad gaming would be if there was no Nintendo?
the thing is, I've already had that in my head. But when Yoshida said that, I'm like, really? You mean even the higher ups at Sony are saying that, and yet the extremist of Sony fans wants Nintendo on the platter.
Well, they want so I won't say that all Sony fans feel that way.
Not that's what I said. The extremist.
The reason you have Sony fans who want to see Sony go away is that the reason you have people who want to see Nintendo go away is that like they want Nintendo they don't want Nintendo to go away. They want Nintendo to get out of the console business because they want Nintendo to go third party. But I'm here to tell you, Nintendo is never going to go third party. It's not going to happen.
No
I
question.
mean, okay, if Nintendo ever gets to the point where they can't make money in the console business and they have to leave the console and the handheld business, they're taking their IPs with them. And let me tell you something: the day that there's no Mario, Zelda, Samus, Kirby, Fire Emblem, the day that Nintendo's IPs no longer are put out for the masses to enjoy, is the day I'm gonna quit being a gamer.
Pretty
Because
much,
if
I
you're
have the exact same thought. I have the exact same thought.
if you're looking for I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're looking for Sony and Microsoft to make interesting, quirky games that are awesome and that everyone can love and play, if you're looking for those two to make those types of games, ooh, you are so SOL, it's not even funny.
In other words, you need the Nintendo magic, or should I say, the Nintendo difference to keep this industry alive.
Yeah, you need the Nintendo difference.
And I'm like, I'm still, some people cannot understand that, which, which brings the whole argument. And here we go. The topic that we're trying to get is kitty. Nintendo is kitty.
Yes, Nintendo is kitty. Nintendo is kitty even though, they make some of the best games of all time. Nintendo is kitty even though they make games where a main character is basically commits genocide on a massive scale for money, but Nintendo is kitty. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I think we should save that for next time because we have been here over an hour over our allotted time. We'll do our next BS podcast next week. We'll iron out the details for that, and we'll call it Bullshit Bust 2 Nintendo is Kitty. Does that sound good to you?
Oh yes. Wait a minute. Let me check something.
Yeah.
I have to find out if I have anything to do with that. Uh, nope. I'm pretty much clear. Thank
So
God.
what would be a good day for you?
Well, you can put it on a Friday.
Okay, then Friday we'll do Bullshit Busters 2. Nintendo is kitty. Oh boy, this is gonna be a fun one. So
And
I guess we'll do our sign off and then call it a day, huh?
yep. Hopefully next time we
Okay,
have
you
one.
you start first.
All right. This has been Triple M here, and I am just an artist that has very fondness for games, especially Nintendo games. But I don't judge.
This is Red Fox signing off. Remember, it's just play games for fun, not not because it's cool, but for enjoyment. And remember, if you enjoy playing a game, then damn it, it's worth playing. Okay, then. That's the end of our podcast. Have a good day.